Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to another edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. This week it's all about Commander, although most weeks it's all about Commander on the Market Watch. However, this week especially is all about Commander. Commander 2021 decks came out not too long ago. A lot of players are picking up upgrades for those decks. Also, a lot of players are just building from scratch around a number of cards within those decks, or cards from Strixhaven itself. So when it comes to overall activity, the market is a lot calmer than it was. There's still some turbulence out there, though. We do have a threshold for this video. We're not going to look at anything that's moving less than $2 up or down today, but that is a lot better than I remember a few weeks ago. It was $6, so things have calmed down quite a bit. Quickly, before we get into the details, though, just a fast reminder, if you go to FlipsideGaming.com, you can use that Heroes promo code to save 10% on orders over $10. Currently, you can pre-order Modern Horizons 2 products there. They also have a whole lot of other things on their website. Remember, orders over $100, or if your order only consists of singles, shipping will be free in the United States. And whenever you use that promo code, it does support the channel, which is always appreciated, so thank you. And without any further ado, let's get into it. We're going to begin, as we always do, with the Standard Legal Spotlight. Only a couple cards to talk about in this section this week. Again, Standard is kind of slow. Players are waiting to see what's going to happen with competitive play this year. And who knows, by the time things really get rolling, maybe another Standard set will be out. That's not out of the question. So let's see what's happening first with the card going down in value. It is Grim Tutor again. This is the copy from Starter 1999. It goes down $7.19 to $107.96. Still losing value, and has been really ever since the reprinting of this occurred in Core Set 2021. Being a tutor, this does see a good amount of Commander play in old and new builds, though. And we have one card going up in value. It is Sedgemoor Witch from Strixhaven. Typically, when a new set comes out, cards go down in value because a lot of packs are being opened. But every once in a while, there is a card that people overlook a little bit during the pre-release season, and then they realize, hey, this is a pretty good card. This is going up $2.09 this week to $4.93, and it is seeing a ton of play in a lot of different places. Sure, it is seeing some standard play in sacrifice builds. It is starting to show up now in some modern inverter sideboards. Legacy, you might find this in Arclight Phoenix. This is already getting vintage play as well in some Dreadhorde Arcanist decks, as well as Monastery Mentor and Death Shadow builds there. Additionally, this has been a huge Commander card too, showing up in a lot of the new builds that are circulating right now. Beledros Witherbloom, Exodus Auric Overlord / Awaken the Blood Avatar, Dina Soul Steeper, Blex Vexing Pest / Search for Blex, Willow Dusk Essenseer, Gaio Master Chef, Valentin Dina the Vein / Lisette Dina the Roots, and more. Also, many players are just picking this up as an upgrade to the Witherbloom Witchcraft Commander 2021 deck. And that's going to bring us to the Pioneer Legal Spotlight. Let's look at some cards going down in value, and then we'll look at some going up. First off, we have Shivan Dragon. This is the one from 5th edition. It goes down $2.03 to $11.99. And this has recently seen some increases, so it's not too weird to see this retracting now. But there are other copies of the card going up this week, which you'll see in just a moment. Now, this does see a little Commander play, but I do think some players are interested in these classic dragons because of the upcoming Magic set, Dungeons & Dragons Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. As a matter of fact, we saw some preview cards this week from that set. One of them happens to be a 5-color legendary dragon. It's on the screen now, Tiamat. Next we have Hellkite Tyrant from Gatecrash. This goes down $2.11 to $21.68. Great Commander card, but it was just reprinted in the Lorehold Legacies Commander 2021 deck. You will find this in builds based around cards from that deck like Oskir the Reconstructor and Alabu Ancient Witness, but this is also in builds around new Strixhaven cards like Gelazeth Prismari and Hoffrey Ghostforge. Next is another card that was recently reprinted, this time in Time Spiral Remastered. This is Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth, the copy from Magic 2015. It goes down $2.97 to $23.45. This is a highly played card, though, in a lot of places. In Pioneer, it's in Marduk's Sacrifice, Rakdos Pyromancer, and Vampires. Modern, you'll find this in Golgari Chord. Legacy, it's in Dark Depths, Eldrazi, Mono Black Karn. Many times you'll find this in Vintage Golo Stacks, too. On top of all that, though, this is a highly played Commander card that would be a good upgrade maybe in Witherbloom Witchcraft or Silver Quill Statement. This is also in new builds around cards from those decks, and also other new Strixhaven cards. Beledros Witherbloom, Exodus Auric Overlord, Dina Soul Steeper, Felisa Fang of Silver Quill, and more. Next is yet another really big commander card going down in value. You see this in a ton of different builds, old and new. Cyclonic Rift, the copy from Modern Masters 2017. It has been soft though, ever since it did get reprinted in Double Masters. This week it goes down 412 to 3548. Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger, another card that has been increasing overall recently, so not too strange to see it retracting now. It goes down 464 this week to 8172. You do see this in Pioneer Mono Green Midrange, Modern Tron builds, Legacy Cloudpost. Also, it's in a lot of different commander builds, including the very popular Kozilek the Great Distortion. And the last card going down in value in this section is Icy Manipulator. It is the copy, though, from Deckmasters Garfield vs. Finkel. This particular copy only comes in foil. It goes down 1134 this week to 844, although there's another copy of this card going up in value, which we'll see later in the video. Now, the reason this card is dropping as much as it is simply because it became unnaturally inflated recently. It dried up in the secondary marketplace online, the price started to go up, and really nobody was paying the price that you saw when you looked at the data. So here we are seeing a price correction at this point, and this does see some commander play in new and old builds. Okay, here's some cards going up in value. 1,000 Year Storm, this goes up 230 to 1760. Great in commander builds with the new Magecraft mechanic. Solid upgrade to the Prismari Performance Commander 2021 deck. Also, it's in a lot of new builds around cards from that deck or cards from Strixhaven, things like Veyran Voice of Duality, Galazeth Prismari, Sapphire Thunder Conductor, and Cody Vociferous Codex. Dragonlord Dromoka, this goes up 345 to 2939. Another powerful dragon going up in value due to the reasons we discussed earlier. This is in a number of commander builds, including the Dragon. I have seen this in some Cody Vociferous Codex builds recently, too. Alunda the Duskgrows, this is the copy from the list, and it did just join the list with Strixhaven, so it's trying to find its price point. Goes up 352 this week to 29.96. This is a very solid commander card in a lot of popular decks like Alper Markov, Teysa Karlov, for example. This is also a good upgrade to the Silverquill Statement deck, and it is getting additional play around cards from that deck and other Strixhaven cards too. Felisa Fang of Silverquill, Exodus Orc Overlord, Shadrick Silverquill, and Brina the Demagogue. Oh, Read the Bones from Commander 2017. This is back again, going up 361 to $5. This copy is just really dry online, so it is super turbulent. One week it goes up, another week it goes down as copies start to come in and then go back out of the marketplace. This is a highly played commander card, though, in many builds old or new, but this particular copy truly isn't worth $5. Here's those other copies of Shivan Dragon I promised, revised up $302 to $30. The Beatdown box set copy goes up $424 to $14.99. And the last card in this section is Primal Amulet. Pretty impressive jump here, $673 to $23. This has been another very popular commander card. It's in a lot of builds, but it is seeing more play now due to Strixhaven and Commander 2021. Obviously, this does work well with the Magecraft mechanic, and this is another one that you could use as an upgrade to the Prismari Performance deck, or a card you just might want to use when you build around some new cards from scratch. Things like Veyran Voice of Duality, Sapphire Thunder Conductor, Octavia Living Thesis, Jedzi Oracle of Arcavio / Journey to the Oracle, or Exodus Orc Overlord, for example. And that brings us to the Modern Legal Spotlight. Let's again look at some cards going down in value and then some going up. Cavern of Souls, the original from Everson Restored, goes down $575 to $85. This recently joined the list with Keltime, which is part of the reason it's soft right now. In Modern, though, sees a ton of play, Eldrazi Tron, Amulet Titan, and much more. Also gets Legacy and Vintage play, plus it is a highly played commander card in various builds. Flooded Strand, the original copy from Onslaught. This jumped up quite a bit recently. You're seeing some retraction now, down $6 to $78.75. Now, fetch lands are going to see play wherever they are legal. This one, no exception, continues to see a lot of play in Modern, Legacy, Vintage, and Commander. Pact of Negation, the copy from the list, and this has been on the list the whole time, so as more sets come out and more packs get cracked, more copies of this get into circulation. If the card only stays in that subset for one set, then it might be harder to find in the secondary market. Now we're talking the third set that this has been in, so not as hard to find. It goes down $617 to $25.42. On top of that, this got reprinted in Time Spiral Remastered, which of course is another big reason this is dropping the way it is. With that being said, though, this still sees a ton of play in Modern and Legacy, and it's become a really big commander card as well. You'll find this in a ton of different builds there. Scalding Tarn, the copy for Modern Masters 2017, goes down $713 to $75.27. With maybe some light exceptions, these enemy fetch lands are all losing value for the most part. This one is losing the most value. We've been saying for months now that Wizards has promised they're going to give us these enemy fetch lands in Modern Horizons 2. Well, this week they showed them to us, and of course, because of that, these existing copies are going down in value. Not only are they going to be in the rare spot of the set, so you will be able to open them in any type of pack, they will also come in extended border versions, and they're also going to come in the classic border as well. I think there's going to be a lot of copies of these things floating around this summer. Again, with that being said, yes, they're going to lose value. They're going to continue to lose value for a while, I'm sure. But they do all see play wherever they are legal. This one, again, sees play in Modern, Legacy, Vintage, and Commander. Cemetery Reaper from Arch Enemy. This is another one of those cards that is just really dry in the marketplace. As some copies come in, the price goes down. Then copies will come back out of the marketplace. The price goes back up again. This week, it's going down $8.15 to $17.94. This is found in various Commander Zombie builds, though. Blood Moon from the Dark continues to lose value, finally under $100 again. It goes down $9.18 to $94.50. Clearly, over the winter, a lot of people zeroed in on cards from the Dark to pick up, and they did dry up in the secondary market online. Well, things are evening out a little bit. Many of those cards are going back down in value, at least to some degree. That's what you're seeing here. When it comes to Blood Moon, of course, this sees play in Modern. It's in Grill Midrange, Mono Red Aggro, and more. Also gets Legacy and Commander play. And our last card going down in value is Ulamog, the Infinite Gyre from Rise of the Eldrazi. It goes down $12.06 to $77.53. This is another one of those cards that has been steadily climbing for a while. Not too surprised to see it lose a little value now. This is a good Commander card though, and Kozilek the Great Distortion, and much more. Null Spy Dragon, first card going up in value in this section. Mystery Booster up $2.45 to $20.98. Shadowmoor goes up $6.99 to $28. Maybe this is tied in with the Dungeons & Dragons set that's coming out this summer to some degree, but the real reason this is moving right now is because of a new card from Strixhaven. This is seeing more Commander play in various builds with Thrumming Stone, and that new card, Dragon's Approach. Ren and 6 on the move again. Modern Horizons up $2.14 to $78.33. The copy from the list goes up $12.04 to $91.05. In Modern, you'll find this in Grill Midrange, Nib to Light, Jund, and more. Also, this sees Vintage and Commander play. Creekwood Liege, the Modern Masters 2015 copy up $11.16 to $17. The Eventide copy up $18.74 to $24.99. The Pest tokens from Commander 2021 and Strixhaven are pushing this one, of course. Some players have been interested in this as an upgrade to the Witherbloom Witchcraft Commander 2021 deck, but others are building around cards from scratch and adding this into the build. Cards like Willow Dusk Essenseer, Beladros Witherbloom, Dina Soul Steeper, and Valentin Dean of the Vein. Savra Queen of the Golgari. Now, this is the copy from the Guilds of Ravnica Golgari Guild Kit, which is a little harder to find, of course, but it does go up $22.47 to $25 this week. And when it comes to gameplay, all the things I said about the previous card, I could just simply say about this card here. Another one that's getting a push because of many of these new decks in Commander. Alright, I debated if I wanted to even put this on here, but I thought it's a good lesson. Sometimes people see this and they have questions like, why is this happening? Cryptic Command, the copy from the list, which only showed up for one time on the list during Zendikar Rising. In theory, if you go to like those price tracking websites, you're going to see something like this. Up $3,403.80 to $4,080.79. Clearly, this is not the value of the card by any stretch of the imagination. This is some really blatant market manipulation going on. And it's not even serious market manipulation. Nobody thinks somebody's going to pay $4,000 for the card. They're just doing it clearly as a joke, and it does confuse people out there. So I just wanted to address it quickly. The reason they can pull this off is because there's just not many copies, or maybe even any copies currently online of this particular copy of the card. Also, sometimes sellers or stores will do this not on purpose. They might have a listing that's in the secondary market and they run out of copies of the card. So instead of taking the listing down, if they feel like they're going to get more copies soon to post, they'll just go ahead and put a really high price up and they know nobody's going to pay for it. But of course, it does throw off the data. Maybe that's what's happening here, maybe not. But anyway, when it comes to Cryptic Command, you know it's still a good card. We'll talk about it briefly since it's here. This sees Modern play in control builds. Also, it is seeing more Commander play now. Some players are picking it up as an upgrade to Prismari Performance, but it's also in builds around not only cards from that deck, but also Strixhaven cards. Things like Veyran Voice of Duality, Octavia Living Thesis, and Jadzi Oracle of Arcavios. Alright, time for the Vintage Spotlight. A couple things to remember as we enter this section. Like all sections in this video, we're talking about card values for high-grade copies of the card. So if you want to get one of these cheaper, you can get cards that have been played a little bit or played heavily, and you will be able to get them much cheaper than the prices you see here. Also, too, remember, these are average prices. By definition, you should be able to find high-grade copies cheaper than the prices you see here, too. On top of that, though, in the vintage section, you do have to remember that there are players grading cards more and more frequently, and those graded copies sell higher, which is throwing off the price a little bit when it comes to at least certain vintage cards. So you do have to work that into the equation nowadays, too. Let's go ahead, though, and see what's happening in this section this week. Things are getting back to normal when it comes to vintage cards in the secondary market, so I no longer have that threshold I've been putting on my videos for a number of months now when it comes to those older sets. So you are going to see a lot of unlimited cards in this section today. As a matter of fact, most of them are not reserve list cards. Most of them have been reprinted in other places. But regardless, it does appear that collectors are interested in getting high-grade copies of these cards. In many cases, they want to get them graded. Here's the first example. It is Animate Wall from Unlimited. It goes up $10.14 to $36. Next, we have our first reserve list card of the day, which you can tell from the top right-hand corner. This is Gilded Drake. It goes up $11 to $424.67. Many times you'll find this one in Legacy Esper Vial. Also, it gets a good amount of Commander play. Okay, I'm going to go on a pretty big tear of Unlimited cards here, so I won't keep saying they're from Unlimited. Just know that until I say differently, each of these is from the Unlimited set. Lord of Atlantis goes up $11.97 to $103.52. Ice Storm goes up $13.04 to $89.92. Nightmare up $14.01 to $94.97. Will-O-the-Wisp, it goes up $14.20 to $95.79. Okay, now this one's from Arabian Nights. It's the original copy of Jandor's Ring. It goes up $17.01 to $95. Okay, back to Unlimited cards again. Another little streak here. Cockatrice up $17.21 to $32.50. Manabarbs up $18.29 to $69.47. Anka Mishra, this goes up $19.78 to $144.97. Goblin King up $19.94 to $75.48. Nether Shadow up $21.01 to $73.98. Mana Flare goes up $26.02 to $154.97. Alabara's Carpet, finally a card from Legends. It goes up $40.88 to $200.98. Icy Manipulator from Unlimited up $57.57 to $229.99. Underground Sea, this is the copy from Revised. It goes up $64.50 to $9.85. Savannah Lions back to Unlimited. This goes up $67.61 to $230. Brain Geyser from Unlimited goes up $91.32 to $398.64. Okay, for the rest of this section, the cards are moving more than $100 in theory anyway. So the price you see on the screen would be a price very similar to something you might see on a price tracking website. And then I will let you know how close that is to true sales. First, we have War Elephant. Now, this is the B copy from Arabian Nights that has the lighter colored casting cost in the upper right-hand corner. In theory, this is going up $103.01 to $172.49. Is that truly the case? Well, I have seen graded copies sell for about $70. Not quite $170 though. Raw copies can be picked up much cheaper as well. Now, that doesn't mean in the future they're going to sell that cheaply, but I don't think you're going to see a spike all the way up to this price anytime soon. Old Man of the Sea, another Arabian Nights card. It goes up $123.47 to $532.87. This is about an average price between high-grade raw copies and high-grade graded copies. Scrubland from Unlimited goes up $127.50 to $1,049.50. Now that is closer to the price of a high-grade graded copy than it is a raw copy. You can get raw copies quite a bit cheaper still. Mishra's Factory, two copies to talk about here. The Antiquities Summer variant goes up $18.50 to $182.49. The Antiquities Winter variant goes up $190.01 to $660. Is that one for real? Actually, that price point is closer to the high-grade raw copies. High-grade graded copies are typically higher. Tropical Island, the revised copy, goes up $980 to $850. The unlimited copy up $200.01 to $1,550. When it comes to that price, it is very similar to the previous card we just saw. The raw copies in high grade can sell for close to that price point. High grade graded copies will sell for more. Stasis from Unlimited goes up in theory $336 to $449.99. This one feels skewed a little bit high. When you look at the high-grade raw copies, they can break $150. I have not seen any high-grade graded copies sell for a while. When one does, I'm sure it will sell for more. Will it be $450? Most likely not. This one is also being manipulated pretty high. Island of Wak Wak, it goes up in theory $1,619.70 to $1,985.30. In reality, high-grade raw copies sell for about $300. Graded copies about $1,000. And our last card in this section, because I know you like to see the egregious market manipulation, this is one of the forests that you'll find in dual decks Knights versus Dragons. No, it is not worth this. It's not worth anywhere near this. But when you look at your websites that track data, it's going to say something like this. Up $9,797.03 to $11,403.50. Yeah, not so much. Again, obviously either an error or a situation where somebody's just trying to have a little fun. All right, that's going to bring us to the Commander Spotlight. Quite a few cards to look at, so let's get into it. Wellspring, it goes up 201 to 798. You don't see as many cards moving now just because they are on the reserve list, but that is still a factor in the amount that they move. This does see a tad bit of Commander play currently, but there could be some speculation here based on a Modern Horizons 2 preview. We saw this card here, Urza's Saga, which is a land combined with a saga. If there's more of these, then maybe a card like Wellspring could become more interesting. Snuff Out, this is the copy from Dual Decks Anthology. It goes up 201 to 998. This is in a number of Commander decks, old and new, including the popular Yuriko the Tiger Shadow builds. This also does get some legacy play too. Ink Eye, Servant of Oni, the copy from Plane Chase Anthology, goes up 201 to 1799. Another card you might find in Yuriko the Tiger Shadow Commander builds and more. Tendershoot Dryad, this goes up 205 to 1514. Another card that could be a good upgrade to one of these Commander 2021 decks. This time the deck is Quantum Quandrix. There are players, of course, also building from scratch from some of the legendary creatures in that deck. Adrix and Nev Twincasters, Ruxa Patient Professor, and Essex Fractal Bloom decks all could run this. Also, too, this is showing up in some decks around Strixhaven cards like Beladros Witherbloom and Dina Soulsteeper. Savage Beating, up 205 to 1559. Some players are picking this up as an upgrade to Prismari Performance. Also showing up in a number of different deck lists around both cards from that deck, as well as cards from Strixhaven. A few examples are Veyron Voice of Duality, Rionia Fire Dancer, and Velomachus Lorehold. Bonus round, another card that's good with Magecraft. It goes up 206 to 1099. And this is another card that you might want to upgrade Prismari Performance. Also, like I said, a lot of players are just building from scratch around some of the cards there, as well as other cards you might find in Strixhaven. In the case of bonus round, I have seen this in builds around Veyron Voice of Duality, Rionia Fire Dancer, Galazeth Prismari, and Cody Vociferous Codex. Monastery Mentor, the copy from the list, goes up $207 to $20.99. This has seen increased Commander play in a lot of builds around new Strixhaven cards, Exodus Overlord, Killian Ink Duelist, Velomachus Lorehold, Cody Vociferous Codex. This also is in some Modern Control builds and other decks in that format. Gets a lot of legacy and vintage play too. Kindred Dominance, great for tribal commander builds like Lathril Blade of the Elves, for example. This goes up 209 to 4151. Darksteel Forge, the copy from Double Masters, goes up 211 to 1716. Great upgrade to the Lorehold Legacies Commander 2021 deck. Also, getting additional commander play around cards from that deck, Oscure the Reconstructor and Alibu Ancient Witness. Arachnogenesis, up 219 to 4424, a very solid and popular commander card, good upgrade to Quantum Quandrix, and another card that is showing up in builds around cards not only from that deck but also from Strixhaven, Blex Vexing Pest, Adrix and Nev Twincasters, Essex Fractal Bloom, and Tanazir Quandrix. Show and Tell from Urza Saga, up 220 to 2797. This does get some commander play. I have seen this in some new decks too, like Cody Vociferous Codex. I do think a lot of the recent movement, though, is tied in with Legacy and how well Omnitel and Sneak and Show have been doing in that meta. Seasoned Pyromancer, up 224 to 4121. Now, maybe not the biggest commander card, but it is seeing a lot more play in the format now because of new cards. Things like Rionia Fire Dancer, Quintorius Field Historian, Exodus Overlord, Mila Crafty Companion / Luca Wayward Bonder. Of course, this sees a ton of play in Modern as well. Gruul Midrange, Mono Red Aggro, Jund, and a lot more. Also gets some legacy play too. Sanctum Prelate, this goes up 239 to 3778. We found out this week this will be the Buy a Box promo for Modern Horizons 2, which means it will become Modern legal. That's why it's really moving the way it is right now. It can see a little commander play though, and it does see play in Legacy, Death and Taxes, and more. Sizen Perverter of Truth. This goes up 241 to 1068, and this is found many times in Commander Nekusar the Mindrazor builds and other places in the format. I guess this could be used as an upgrade to Silverquill Statement, since there are Pillow 4 elements found there. Dark Confidant from Modern Masters. It goes up 246 to 3818. This is getting more commander play now in builds like Exdesoric Overlord, Killian Ink Duelist, for example. In Modern, though, it sees play in the Rock and more, sees Legacy play too, and it did get a Command Zone podcast mention this week as well. Natural Order, the copy from Portal, it goes up 249 to 4249, even though this was just reprinted as a Mystical Archive card. Just goes to show you how dry that Portal copy can get online. This is seeing more commander play now, though, in Beledros Witherbloom, Dina Soulsteeper, Adrix and Nev Twincasters. Again, some players are trying to build around that card from scratch. Others might grab this as an upgrade to Quantum Quandrix. This also sees Legacy Elves play as well. Essence Warden. Now this is the copy from Dual Decks Ajani vs. Nicol Bolas. It goes up 255 this week to 759. Good upgrade to the Witherbloom Witchcraft deck. Also seeing additional play around new cards from Strixhaven and also from that deck. Beledros Witherbloom, Dina Soulsteeper, Willow Dusk Essence Seer, and Valentin Dean of the Vein. Also, this gets modern play in Chord builds. Parallel Lives. This is moving up again, up 255 to 6363. Again, seeing increased commander play and builds around Beledros Witherbloom from Strixhaven, Adrix and Nev Twincasters, Essex Fractal Bloom, Gaio Master Chef. Those are all from Commander 2021, and more. Some players are just adding this again to the existing Commander 2021 decks, Quantum Quandrix or Witherbloom Witchcraft. Rune Sword from the Dark, one of the Dark cards still going up in value. This one's not on the reserve list and has been reprinted, but it goes up 260 this week to 438. Can see a tad bit of commander play. Cataclysm from Exodus up 261 to 1499. This has seen a little more commander play recently in Velomachus Lorehold. Also sees Legacy play in Death and Taxes. Horizon Canopy, the original from Future Sight, goes up $288 to $40. This is a solid commander land. Sees a lot of modern play in Heliod Company and more there. Also appears in some Legacy builds. Grand Abolisher, the copy from Magic 2012, it goes up $303 this week to $34.31. Solid commander card in a lot of different decks, old and new. Urza Lord High Artificer goes up $303 to $47.43. Very popular commander, seeing more play now in a new build too, Galazeth Prismari. In Modern, this is in Urza, gets some Legacy play as well. Retraced Image, this goes up $305 to $599. This has seen some commander play in the past in like Telran Sky Summoner decks and more. Recently, it got a boost due to Orvar the Allform, but now some players are using this as an upgrade to Prismari Performance. Also, again, others are just building around a couple cards from there from scratch. Things like Veyron Voice of Duality or Octavia Living Thesis. The worldwide copy of Jace the Mind Sculptor, the original, it goes up $306 to $74.81. This is in Commander Atraxa Praetor's Voice builds and many other decks in the format. Also in Modern, you'll find this in Control builds and more. Legacy, it's in Miracles builds and more there. Gets vintage play too. And it did get a Command Zone mention this week as well. Wormcoil Engine, the copy from Double Masters, goes up $313 to $30.40. Good upgrade to Lorehold Legacies. And again, you have a lot of players building around cards from that deck or else building around cards from Strixhaven in general and using this. It's in decks like Oscar the Reconstructor, Alibu Ancient Witness, and also Hofri Ghostforge. This gets modern play in Tron builds and more there, and it even sees vintage play. Defense Grid, a couple copies moving, 9th edition up $284 to $21.99, 8th edition goes up $330 to $18.60. This is getting more commander play in Rionia Fire Dancer and Velomachus Lorehold. This does show up in a number of different decks though in Modern, Legacy, and Vintage as well. Intuition from Tempest up $341 to $219.99. This is in various commander builds. In Legacy, you'll find this in Omnitel, Sneak and Show, and more. Reflecting Pool from Conspiracy goes up $345 to $29.99. Popular commander mana-based card in many different decks, old and new. Also see some modern play. Deathcoil Worm from Portal Second Age. Some of these Portal Second Age cards that have yet to see a reprint are getting hot again. This one goes up $350 to $11.57. Can see a little commander play. Orc General from the Dark. Another one of these cards from the Dark that's not on the reserve list, but it has yet to be reprinted. It goes up $362 to $650. Now, it could be moving just simply because of that. It does see a tad bit of commander play, but nothing too much to speak of right now. Although, you never know, in the future, if we get more creatures with Changeling, this could get better. But I think the main speculation right now that has people looking at this is the fact that maybe we will see more orcs in a couple upcoming products. One of those products, of course, being Dungeons & Dragons Adventures in the Forgotten Realm. The other one being the Warhammer 40k commander decks that are supposed to come out next year. Back to basics, this is the copy from Urza Saga. It goes up 379 to 2947. This is an Urza Lord High Artificer builds in Commander and other decks, old and new. Also sees Legacy play in various builds. Grinding Station goes up 411 to 1569. This is a very good upgrade to Lorehold Legacies, or maybe even a decent upgrade to Witherbloom Witchcraft. Also getting some increased commander play around 2 cards from those decks, Saskia the Reconstructor and Guillaume Master Chef. This also gets a little modern play in Grinding Breach. Gaia's Cradle, percentage-wise not moving a lot, but it's going up $439 to $1,042.49. Expensive, but a great commander card if you own one. This is in many builds, old and new there. This is also in Legacy Elves and more decks in that format, and also gets some vintage play too. Brushwag, this goes up $440 this week to $14.99. Another card that can see a tad bit of commander play, but this one is really moving because of its status on the reserve list. There was some talk recently on an MTG Finance message board where people were talking about kind of silly cards to buy out. This was one of them, and I do think it probably got a number of people to pick up copies. Exquisite Blood, Jumpstart up $335 to $52.21. Everson Restored goes up $469 to $54.35. This is another very popular commander card in a lot of different builds. Remember, this card's partner in crime, Sanguine Bond, that was just reprinted in Time Spiral Remastered, so I don't think this spike is a coincidence. On top of that, though, this is seeing some increased play in Commander. Many people are picking this up as an upgrade to Witherbloom Witchcraft. Also, you can find this in new builds around some of the cards there, as well as some new Strixhaven cards. Willow Dusk Essenseer, Guillaume Master Chef, Dina Soulsteeper, and Belladros Witherbloom. Eladamri, Lord of Leaves. This goes up $498 to $132.39. This is in Commander Elves builds like Lathril Blade of the Elves. Mystics of the Ismagnus. Now, this is the copy from Commander 2015. It did just enter the list with Strixhaven, but this copy goes up $533 this week to $23.53. This has always been a fairly popular commander. Now it is a card that's good with Magecraft, so obviously it's going up in value mostly because of that right now. Many players want this as an upgrade to Prismari Performance, or they want to build around cards either from that deck or Strixhaven, like Veyran Voice of Duality, Zaphi Thunder Conductor, Uvilda Dean of Perfection / Nasari Dean of Expression, or Cody Vociferous Codex. This also got a Command Zone mention this week as well. Mycosynth is next. The copy from Battle Bond, still pretty hot, going up $646 this week to $57.47. Another good upgrade to Lorehold Legacies, or again, you could just build around some of the cards from that deck, like Oscar the Reconstructor, or Alibu Ancient Witness. This also sees a good amount of legacy play in Karn Echoes and more there. The Mystery Booster copy of Mana Crypt goes up $679 to $173.95. Great vintage card, great commander card in many builds, old and new. Norwood Priestess, here's another one of those cards from Portal's Second Age. Never been reprinted. It goes up $682 to $109.30. I'm sure at some point it will get reprinted. It will drop a lot when that happens. It does get a little commander play. Mana Vault, this is the one from Ultimate Masters, going up $696 to $129.94. Another highly played commander card in old and new builds. This could be especially good though in Oscar the Reconstructor, whether you build around that card from scratch or you just pick this up as an upgrade to Lorehold Legacies. Also, this does get a good amount of vintage play too, of course. Sliver Queen, it goes up $19.49 to $566.98. This is the Sliver Lord that is on the reserve list. Sliver Commander decks have been hot. I do think they'll continue to be hot. The catalyst most recently has been Time Spiral Remastered. There they reprinted Sliver Legion as well as some other key slivers. And finally for this section we have Deranged Herman. It goes up $40.04 to $99.99 in theory. In reality, raw copies are selling for about $60 in high grade. I have not seen any graded copies sell though recently. This typically hasn't been the type of card people have gotten graded. This could be a good upgrade to the Quantum Quandrix deck with S6 Fractal Bloom as your commander. Or again, you could build around that card from scratch. Same is true of Ruxa Patient Professor. And that's going to take us to the premium spotlight. So the premium world has come down a lot, much like the rest of the secondary market. Still a lot of market manipulation out there though, so be very, very careful if you're trying to pick up any particular card. Do your research. Go over to eBay, see what sold and completed listings have gone for. See how many of these cards are selling, when the last sale was. All that data is going to help you make good decisions. It is impossible to look at everything that's happening when it comes to the world of premium cards, but I like to pick a few every week to give you a snapshot of what's happening out there. The first one is the foil copy of Glimpse of Nature from Champions of Kamigawa, going up $12 this week to $59.99, mostly because it just dried up in the secondary market online. Now this does see play in Legacy Elves, also it does get Commander play as well. I do think this foil has potential to keep growing though, at least until it gets a reprint in foil somewhere. Now this card and the next card we saw earlier in the video, this is Snuff Out, but it is the copy from Mercadian Masks, the only foil copy. It goes up $21.43 this week to $179.04, or does it? In reality, high-grade raw copies have sold for about $45. Again, this is not the type of card you see graded. If you did though, it would sell for more, still not $180, I don't think. And finally, Parallel Lives. This is the foil from Innistrad, going up $47.06 to $170. Is that for real? Well, in reality, high-grade raw copies have sold for about $95. Again, not the type of card you see graded. If you did sell one graded, it would sell for a little more, but again, I don't think it would hit $170. Alright, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. Glad to be back with you. I missed last week. Like I said at the end of my video the previous week, I did have a lot going on last week. I was hoping to get everything done and be able to do last weekend's video. Didn't work out though, but I'm back on schedule. Feels good to be back with you every week. Until next time though, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon and have a great day.